podcast with balls.
There it is. You even got a countdown now.
but how come we're not in there? Where are we? Where are we, guys? What the hell happened?
That's very strange.
Hello. Oh, shit. See, I knew this. Oh, hold on. Let me see something. Maybe I... So why did that happen? Because I hit the add overlay, but where's the... Hey, everybody! This is the best way to start a show. Tim McKinney loves it, and I'm Schmitty, along with Christian. And we got a good show for you guys tonight. Skaters on Baseball just hit 200 subscribers. We're fired up. Yeah. And to join us is going to be a Seattle Mariners fan. Charles Krieg is going to be on the show tonight talking Mariners. We're going to talk what the hell is up with Tom Murphy. Is Robbie Ray going to bounce back? How's Haniger post Forever Giant? And more. Is Randy Arozarena going to come to the Giants, or are we going to get J-Rod? Like, what are we going to do here, guys? Giants beat Mariners 6-4, and Christian has got a couple days left in NorCal before he heads back home.
That's right. That's right. Yeah. So far, all we've gotten out of the Mariners was torpedoes, especially Haniger and Murphy. I mean, we don't know about Ray yet, but man, I mean, it's like, yeah, Randy. J-Rod, send those our way, right?
I'll take either one of those guys.
Yeah.
Although Randy didn't have that great of a year with the Mariners.
He didn't.
Last year.
It wasn't the same kind of stuff that he was putting out in Tampa Bay, but I have a feeling that he's going to have a bounce back year this year. And I just like the way that guy plays the game. That's it.
No, he's a joy to watch. The Giants beat the Mariners today, and it was 6-4 in a windy. I think it's Peoria or Surprise, but we got to watch the game today. It was free MLB, so I was watching some of it, and Jung-Hoo Lee hit a ball that was a home run for sure, and Matos hit a ball that was a home run for sure. Neither of them even made the warning track, I think, or maybe they just made the warning track. Like the wind was just gushing. But, dude, I'm so excited for Jung-Hoo Lee. Like what I've seen of him so far already. He made an insane – if you didn't see the catch, look up highlights of Jung-Hoo Lee's catch today, which they ruled a non-catch. Yeah. But, dude is fuego, man. I'm hyped on Jung-Hoo Lee for sure.
Yeah. And Melvin tried to challenge that call, right? Wasn't it like they were saying something like, normally managers don't.
Oh, yeah. Well, he didn't challenge it but he came out and asked the referees how could they overturn it, because they called it out at first and then they overruled it. But
right.
Yeah, and Landon Roop threw 3 innings. What was it? 5 strikeouts, I think.
5 strikeouts, yeah.
Yeah, so he's pitched 5 scoreless innings this spring, 2 innings the first game, 3 innings today. And he is saying, Hayden Birdsong, Mr. Harrison, I'm coming for that 5th starter, bro. Like, this is going to be a fun competition.
Yeah. I mean, I feel like there's going to be a little bit of seniority in play when they go to fill out the rotation. However, if you go have a solid spring and based on what these guys did last year, it could be knocking Harrison right off the block, and then Roop and Birdsong would be battling for it. It would be crazy. It's like guys Birdsong was kind of in the conversation last year and came in and he pitched pretty well and he got a lot of starts in, but that was only because Harrison went down with the injury.
I know. So Birdsong's the favorite for the fans, apparently, from what I'm seeing. But don't kid yourself. Harrison's going to get the nod for sure. Like, they need a lefty, and Harrison has, the more experience. I think unless something really crazy happens, Harrison will get the nod. And then as the first month or so develops, they'll take a second look at who's doing what. But I can't imagine Harrison not getting the fifth start.
He hasn't pitched yet in the spring, though, right?
Yeah, he's been sick, I guess.
Okay. Yeah. There were a few things going around, but it sounds like Ramos coming back maybe by Monday, Fitzgerald by Saturday. So we're going to get to see a little bit more, and I'm excited to see both those guys. So, there he is.
You know who I'm excited to see? Our next guest, baby. Friend of the show. Let's bring him in all the way from West Seattle, just below the Needle and the Divisive Waters, whatever the Keys. I forget what the hell they call it. This is the one and only Charlie Krieg. What's up?
Get rippy. What's up,
How
Charlie?
you doing, everybody?
Good.
Look at the dog.
Look at that.
Right here. He's got his jersey.
Is that J-Rod? Is that Griffey or J-Rod?
He's got his jersey on too.
0-1. Nice.
Did you watch the game? Did you watch the game today?
No, dude. I had an abbreviated lunch break, and I did tune in because it was streaming for free on MLB at Bat. Yep. So I did tune in for a second. It was they had just taken Miller out when it was in the fourth inning. It was like right when they gave up those 4 runs. I think it was 1-1 going into the fourth inning, and then one of our guys gave up a 3-run inning, so it was 4-1 at the time. But I had to go back to work, unfortunately, at that point.
You can't listen while you're working? I mean, is it just not?
No, I work at an auto shop, and I'm like the front counter guy, so I gotta be answering the phone all the time. There's some music in the background, but I did have it propped up there for a minute, but it got way too hectic, so I had to turn it off, unfortunately.
Well, fill us in. Last year, the Mariners were 85-77. Did they get better or worse? Are they going to be a better team this year or worse? And are they going to be better or worse than the Giants?
It's interesting because they didn't do virtually anything this offseason. They picked up Dominic Solano, and then they didn't re-sign Josh Rojas, who was our third baseman for seemingly a majority of the year last year. Who I thought was pretty decent at third. I mean, obviously there's room to upgrade, and there was people talking about Bregman coming up here, and I was like, I mean, he's a good player, but he's also a trash throw. So they did. Christian. So they did re-sign Jorge Polanco, who was subpar last year, but they are going to slot him at third base, and they're going to kind of rotate a couple guys in at second, it seems like. Ryan Bliss, and the other guy's name is eluding me. But then Solano, she'll be playing first. But that's like seemingly the biggest moves. They did re-sign a bunch of our pitchers in arbitration, so we got to keep those guys. So that's nice, like Logan Gilbert amongst others.
Yeah, best ERA in baseball last year.
Right. It will be interesting. I don't think they got better by doing any of the moves. I think they're probably about the same. I think we need the cards to really fall our way. The Angels have stacked up. While I can't remember some of the guys they've added, they definitely added a bunch of people.
Don't worry about them.
I mean, right. Mike Trout's the only one I'm worried about, of course. He's the best player in baseball. I
mean, Julio and Randy are going to have a better season than last year. They have to, right? They're not. Those guys are awesome, and they're not. What they did last year was off years.
Absolutely. And with the managerial change, having Dan Wilson now as our manager, and Edgar Martinez, him bringing Edgar Martinez back as a hitting coach. The game is so complicated with all this, exit velo this and launch angle that, and Edgar comes in and goes, hit the damn ball. Let's hit the ball. Basically, when he came back the second half, they were trending in the right direction. So it'll be interesting to see Dan Wilson in his first full season as well, with help from Edgar. And then I was listening to an interview in the morning the other day on the way to work. Edgar's assistant, I can't remember his name, but he was like really excited working with Julio, working with Randy. And he said his dark horse was Dylan Moore, who's just an all-around player. He's kind of like the new age Willie Bloomquist for the Mariners.
Mm.
But I like watching him play. He's not an everyday player. He's just utility. You put him anywhere. But the pitching is the same, so we know that that's going to be good. It's can Julio be good? And I feel like if Julio's good, that'll rub off on everybody else.
Right.
So because Randy, I was like reading something about Randy earlier. He's stoked to be in town, so we'll see.
Yeah, I mean, it feels like they sort of underperformed last year in terms of the two big superstars in Randy and Julio. Like,
Yep.
And it feels like I don't know. Did it seem like there was those guys were trying to carry too much of the weight and they're feeling too much pressure to carry the team, because the rest of the team is good players for sure, but not top name guys like those two, right?
Right. So, well, Randy came in later in the season, and he was trending better towards the end. But yeah, I mean, this team really relies on Julio doing good, and he knows that. And so I think he's probably the kind of guy that kind of gets inside himself a little bit when he's on a little bit of a slump, and then that kind of brings it, not brings everyone down, but hitting's contagious, as we all know, so
Of course.
So if we can keep him going, then I think we're going to be doing just fine. I think we have a serious chance at not just a wild card, but taking the division too, especially with the subtraction of a couple people in Houston as well.
Yep.
What about the Sacramento A's? You feeling that whole debacle? Like the owner taking them to the Giants AAA stadium? I mean, it's going to be novelty, and it'll be cute, right? But I think it's going to be a disaster. I mean, I love that Sacramento's getting the chance. Kind of feels like if Portland got a team, because they always like support those like minor league teams really well, and they're hungry.
Right.
So they'll come out and support them well. And then it seems kind of crazy to me, like the A's made these moves all of a sudden, like they're picking up guys left and right. It's like, where was that mentality when you were in Oakland? It's like,
right.
It's bizarre.
Absolutely, man. It's just a bummer for Oakland baseball. I mean, the Oakland A's, they're not the Las Vegas A's, they're not the Sacramento A's. So, I mean, that is a bummer. But yeah, I have been keeping up a little bit with them. I saw them make a couple moves. So it'll be interesting, but I guess they're the least, I guess, of my priorities in the American League West for sure. But they usually play us pretty good, but a couple of years ago, I think we beat them like 11-0, like in the season, or something like that. So that was pretty fun.
Yeah, it's interesting. I guess in the Padres A's game today, the Padres announcers were going off on the Oakland ownership and saying basically like they're not even saying Sacramento. You're not allowed. Like, how disrespectful to the city. They're playing in that city.
Right.
It's like you can't even mention Sacramento. It's terrible.
Right.
So,
I mean, aren't they just calling them the Athletics? They're just the
Athletic. Yeah, they put out a whole brand guide and a press thing that said that nobody's supposed to refer to them as anything other than that. And they may never be the Las Vegas Athletics. That deal is not set, right?
True.
I mean,
true.
It's I don't know. So we'll see. I think they need to sell them, basically.
Yeah.
I mean, that's what everybody wants, right? Like it would have been so great if Dave Stewart and Reggie Jackson, I think, had an offer on the table, and think of the history that they would bring in and all that stuff. It seems like such a crime what's going on right now with them. If I'm an A's fan, I'm probably protesting until there's a new owner.
Don't.
What does this guy say? Eddie's coming in with a little hot take. Those A's are young and really playing well. They might be the thorn in the division. Not saying they're going to win it, but they might ruin a lot of your nights.
Yeah,
I think that could be true.
A thing. That's definitely a thing for sure. That there's always, whether you're in it or not, and Mariners have played this too. I mean, being a Mariners fan, right? We tend to play the thorn in the side of people. Because, I mean, when was the last time we went to the playoffs besides a couple of years ago? It was 20 years ago. It was the longest playoff drought in sport, in the four major sports. So, and the A's, you guys are very familiar with that too. So I hope you don't be a thorn in our side.
Yeah.
But go be a thorn in the side of someone else.
I like the idea of spoilers, like spoiling the postseason for another team. But I also like all season long spoilers where it's that team that's way below you in the standings, but they're going to come and screw you up big time, and they can ruin a series, right? Like just come in and be like, oh yeah, we're the odds say we're supposed to kill these guys, and yet they take us out. So I love that about baseball. Anything can happen.
There's nothing worse than getting like swept in a 3 or 4 game or losing 3 or 4 in a series to a person in last place, whether it be in your division or just in general. It's just like the most like, what are we doing here, guys? We should have been, we should have had this, 3 or 4 or 2 or 3 or something, but not a sweep or a loss, period, right?
Right.
Maybe a split, but they always play the hardest, because they're trying to prove something, as opposed to say some guys that have been there, they're rotating in some of their younger guys, trying to check guys out, and they got something to prove. So you always got to watch out for them for sure.
Yeah, and how much joy would it bring people if the Rockies go into LA and take 2 out of 3 off the Dodgers, or the White Sox go into the Bronx and they take 2 of 3 from the Yankees? Like everybody but Yankees and Dodgers fans would be like, yes.
Right? Exactly.
And after that abysmal World Series last year that was totally unexciting, I'd be completely happy for that kind of thing to go on all year.
Yep.
Hey, speaking 100%. Of that, have you seen what's going on in the media right now with like Nestor Cortez?
No,
they're basically, so I guess what happened after the World Series ended, the Yankees felt like the Dodgers totally disrespected them and just weren't good sports or whatever. And I think they said something to that nature. And then the Dodgers, like Mookie Betts has a podcast and they rebutted and had all this. So there's all these vibes going. And then Nestor, it was like yesterday, I think, that he was like, well, everyone knows we should have won. It's like, how do you come out and say we should have won? And if you're Nestor, the guy that came in and gave up the golf ball, man.
Yeah, for sure.
It's wild. Wow. What are your thoughts on the new rules, the ABS and the faster pace and some of these modern things that they're trying to, play with? About the pitching, how they're doing 2. You can challenge 2 strikes or balls per game in the spring training. Mm-hmm. What are your thoughts on that stuff?
I guess mixed emotions. I do like, say, the pitch clock or the throwing over to second base a couple times, and if you don't give them the third time, all right, you're done. The challenging, I still like the human element to it. You got to get it right. I can't remember what exact. I know that it's 2 pitches. Is it 2 pitches or 2 challenges? Is it per batter or is it per inning?
Per game. Per game.
Okay.
Yeah. So it's not huge.
Okay. If it's only a couple times, okay. I think any more than that, I think would be way too much because everybody would be challenging everything. I wasn't familiar with all of the ins and outs of it, but I have I think it was today's game, right when I tuned in, I can't remember who was at bat because it was a 3-2 pitch, I think, and he struck out. But the pitch before was questionable, ball 4, and all the Mariners announcers were like, is he gonna challenge? Like, he threw his bat. So it will be interesting to see something like that play out at the end of a game. Wasn't there a situation or 2 where there was like bases loaded, bottom of the 9th, and the dude, pitch clock, and then walked the guy and he won. Right. So it will be interesting to see it when it's in that particular scenario. Otherwise, it's just kind of like, meh, who cares really, I guess, since it's only a couple times a game.
How many clock offs were there this last year? Anybody know?
Clock offs?
What does that mean?
Clock offs, like like what Charlie just described, bases loaded. The guy violates the pitch clock. There maybe one, right?
2. I think 1, maybe 2. Okay. But I remember seeing at least 1 for sure.
Yeah.
No,
I've gone back and forth on the robot umpire thing because, especially when Angel Hernandez was still in the league, that like you just sit, it would just eat you up. You'd sit here and go, how can these guys be so bad? We got to have a way to clean it up, right? But then, like, after having seen it in spring training, and I guess they use it AAA too, like the whole thing just seems kind of silly. You know, you have 10 seconds to do the. I mean, it's come on, like it just. It doesn't work. I think they just need to have more. They just need
accountability
to make sure the
within, within themselves.
Right.
I mean, that was the whole reason that Angel Hernandez didn't get fired from the MLB Umpires Association when he tried to sue MLB over them thinking they were racist towards him.
Yeah,
right. It's like they have like that whole union. That's why he didn't get fired.
Right.
Ultimately,
I mean, he was
much shit about him that he had to leave.
He was he was so bad for the first month last year that I think the league met with the union and said, he's probably just doing it on purpose now because he's bitter because he didn't get a big settlement out of him and all that, And
this guy right here, this is Paul, man. Paul thinks that the Mariners are going to win the World Series. So there you go, Paul.
Awesome.
Oh, man. Hey, what's Seattle like right now? I'm guessing still a little wintry, rainy. When's the last time you skated? Give us a little skateboard update.
Yeah, well, actually, I don't live in Seattle anymore. I moved away from Seattle a couple of years ago. I live in Spokane, so I'm just on the other side of the state.
That's a good meth town.
Yeah, there is that for sure.
I love their skate park though.
Yeah. Oh, dude. So they just did another one downtown, and the Coeur d'Alene one's pretty fun because that's only like 40 minutes from my house, and because like the first one of the earlier Grindline parks that was like funded by Tony Hawk Foundation is the Hilliard Park, like right down the street from my house. Nice. So that's pretty fun. But the sun like literally just came out for the first time in I don't know a few weeks. It's been like below freezing, like single digits for the last like few months or few weeks. Bunch of snow, so it like literally just melted. So I did a kickflip in my. What's that?
Is there any indoor little training facility type thing? Anything to skate? Any parking garages, or is winter just like we're not skating?
Winter's kind of a bummer here. My buddy has a ramp at his house, but I haven't been there for a little while. A little mini ramp that's probably like 3.5 or 4 feet tall, super tight transitions. Okay. But I haven't talked to him for a little while. He's been working a bunch too. But I bought my house a couple years ago, and I have a pretty big shop, and so I'm gonna I want to build at least a couple quarter pipes in there for next winter. But I want to try and break ground on like a bowl or something in my yard here pretty soon. Sick. Because I got a couple buddies that work for Grindline too, so they're gonna come over and help out. So I'll be
nice. The right people to do it.
Yep, for sure.
So what do you think, Charlie? Do you think they're gonna have a work stoppage next year? In terms of this,
work stoppage.
Well, yeah. I mean, the CBA is expiring, so like the players.
Oh, it does expire next year.
Yeah.
And Scott
I guess
Boris
it depends on what terms would they argue over that would create the stoppage would be, I guess,
everything.
The question.
Everything.
Sure.
All of it.
Like, are there people that are mad about like some of these new rules, like a robot umpire? Do they not want that? Like, I mean, what?
I think honestly that one of the biggest things to me, I've been saying it all year, is that the NBA and the NFL have these small windows, which makes everything exciting, right? It's like you got 2 weeks to make all your free agent moves, trades, blah, blah, blah. It's a smaller period. It's probably a month, not 2 weeks, but there's every day like, oh, this guy's going here, and it's super exciting. Mm-hmm. Baseball, for this sport that wants to get everything faster, is dragged. This is the part that I think is the longest part of the game, where it's like World Series is over, 2 weeks later, you get to start making moves, and you don't see anybody move until like Christmas. And it's just so much. Who's going to go where? What if this guy goes? Like so much anticipatory anxiety. It kills me. Like Aaron Judge for 4 months until he signs. Like, let's just make this shit happen.
Yeah. I guess it would be interesting to see.
I think if they do that, which I wish they would, the players would get bummed because they're probably not going to get paid as much, right? You don't have as much time to negotiate. So that's like the advantage to the ownership. But man, this Scott Boras guy, he's dictating way too much stuff, and it's kind of like puppets on strings, and I hate it.
Yeah, like you say, is I guess what do the players believe is, how can they maximize their their wallet, I guess, would be the question, and the dragging it on, like you say, is certainly the way to do it. I wonder, I guess the other thing I was thinking of, because they've talked about this for the last decade, is do they shorten this season? Because there's always been talk about shortening the season too, because 162 games, while it's not the most physical sport out there, it is still 162 games, almost every day. So it would be interesting to see if anybody argues for that too. Does that make it more exciting? Do the players get paid less as a result of that? Would be, I guess, another question too, because you're not doing your full job. You know what I mean? So it'd be interesting to see what some of the specific arguments that multiple people get behind, as opposed to, like, say, one person says, I think this sucks. It's like, or there's 50 people over here that say, shorten this up. We believe X, Y, and Z, and the other people are going to go say the opposite, right? It would be interesting to see what the arguments are. Yeah.
Well, the owners are looking at salary cap. They're talking salary cap, right? The league is probably looking at what are they going to do with the deferment issue, because that's just getting out of hand now.
Right.
That that's
the one too. God.
These teams are
Who else
signing.
just deferred their payment? Someone got traded, was it the Blue Jays that just deferred a bunch of money too?
Yeah, a lot of people defer money, but no one defers millions, like 700 million. Like there's only one Ohtani.
Yeah,
right.
Yeah, the Dodgers have so many guys on deferment. It's over $1 billion some odd. Like, it's ridiculous how much is just in deferment, right?
Well, even Ken Griffey Jr. just got his last paycheck from the Cincinnati Reds like 2 years ago.
Yeah.
And what's the guy's name that's been getting paid from the Mets for all these years?
He's still getting paid.
He's still getting paid, right? Bonilla, is that right?
It's the Bobby Bonilla day.
Yeah, he's still getting paid. Well, it's there's some stuff that they need to work on, and it's like, I mean, from our point of view, but I'm just curious, like, what the players union, like, what's going to happen. And one thing I'm sure of is that baseball can't afford another strike. They can't. No. Because the first one was bad, and the second one was, I mean, you saw what people did after the second one. Like, they were throwing dollar bills at these guys, and people weren't showing up, and it took a long time around the league for the attendance to get back up. I mean, people were just pissed. So it could be even worse this time, just because the salaries are so astronomical now. The average person, what it costs to go to a game, the average person would just be like, man, screw these guys. I'm not going to support it. So, yeah, it's nuts.
Paul's pissed off, man. Not only did he not want the Mariners to win the World Series, but he's like, look how many days a week we have to work. And they only work spring and summer and maybe partly in the fall, and only for 5 hours? You got Jock Peterson down there in Mazatlan, like, more often than he's on the field. It's insane. What do you think about this, though? I've been toying with this idea, and I'm on the fence a little bit, but I think it could be cool. Since there's a DH in the National League now, what about realigning all the, like, what if Seattle's in the same division as the Giants, the A's, the Angels, and the Dodgers? So it's like all the rivals are in the same division, and then you line up these teams, because I've heard that as a possibility, that they might talk about that in the meetings. And I thought that could be cool, just because how stoked were we when they opened up, like, so now I can get the Yankees at the Giants game, right? We're playing all the teams. Well, imagine if all of a sudden you had more games against different teams. Like, we've kind of, like, the Rockies, do we need to see them as much as it'd be funner to see the A's and the Mariners, I think, but, like, I don't know.
Right. No, that would be interesting for sure. I mean, like, say back in the day, like the Seahawks were in the AFL and the Raiders were like their number one rival, and then they turned to the NFC, and then all of a sudden it was, the Niners, right? And so it would
But
be
like you could
interesting.
have the inner city, like the
Right.
Pirates and the Phillies, the Cubs and White Sox, like those teams are in the same division. So there's just
Right.
way more intensity.
Right. Well, that's, you're playing these people more often than normally you would, and Seattle historically, Seattle sports in general has like the furthest travel schedule of like anybody almost, like say the Southeast teams and the East Coast, they're all jam packed right here. And we're way the hell up here.
That's what Christian's always saying.
So,
Yeah.
Right. So that
Yeah,
would
the
be
West
cool
West
because
Coast
then they
teams
that would
have
cut
a
down
gnarly
time.
travel.
Does that make us better if we're not traveling as much? Who the hell knows, but at least it would that is an interesting take for sure because of what the Mariners and Seattle sports has to do in general, for sure.
I'm curious if they're going to look at it the way the NBA has done this little mid-season series amongst they handpick these
Or like the
teams.
NHL.
Yeah,
NHL
NHL's
too.
got that now too, right?
That was
like
friggin' awesome.
I could totally see baseball saying,
that
yeah,
was
we're going to
amazing.
have an in-season little series between, they pick
got
four teams.
Got my Kraken koozie.
Dude, 2 fights within 9 seconds before the puck even drops. It's
Right.
Yes.
Yeah.
I got 2 Mariners questions for you. One is, how's my boy Mitch Haniger post Giants forever? And then what did you hear on your end? Because there was a lot of talk in the offseason about the Giants making a trade with the Mariners and maybe getting Castillo or one of their arms, and the Mariners needing a third baseman. Maybe we're going to give Schmidt and a couple of young guys or something. Did you hear anything up there as far as like from your guys' end, or was that just San Francisco smoke?
Well, I think they were shopping Castillo for sure, because I actually even said that when on one of your live shows I tuned in. It's like, I'll trade you Castillo for Chapman. Like, I'll take him all day long at third base. I'll sure. I mean, we got more guys in AAA that are doing really good, and so that would be a great trade. I think they were shopping him really hard, but they wanted a lot back for him, and so I think that a lot of teams weren't willing to give that much up for him, because he's owed a decent amount of money too for I think another couple of years. But I don't think that they got offers for what they thought was a good trade. So ultimately they said, well, if you don't give us what we want, we'll just keep him anyways, because we do like him. I mean, it's not like we want to get rid of him, but he is an excellent trade piece with all of our other guys. We're paying him like a friggin' bag of chips right now until they actually sign a real big league deal, So I think that's ultimately, I think the reason, right, was this salary period. It seems to be where it always is up Seattle sports period. Again, in Mariners for sure, we don't like to spend money on anything. So yeah, ultimately we kept him, which I'm perfectly happy with, and I would, I guess, prefer that. I wish they could just go spend a few bucks and get somebody like one of the guys that's a producer on one of the morning shows. Him and his buddies do a podcast called The Marine Layer, and I've been listening to them every now and again. And he had a good saying the other day. He goes, 15 million reasons why. It's just like, you could have just, that was like, I guess, the amount of money they had to spend. It's like, this is what you get for 15 million bucks. Not much. You get a couple, suitable guys, servable guys for a little bit, but you're not a 95 win team with what you did by any stretch. You're maybe 90, wild card, but because everyone else is really good and we historically can't break 90.
Maybe the playoffs last year or no?
We just missed it.
Just missed, yeah.
Just missed it.
You know what we got here, Schmitty? We have a Mariners fan in Spokane who says he'll take Chapman all day. You know how much
Giants fans are like this.
There's these people in San Francisco that are just like, they're calling him crap, man, and there's just like,
I love Chapman.
It's ridiculous.
Chapman is a baller, awesome. Man.
He is,
Chapman
right?
is a absolute baller.
yeah. We're so tired of hearing this crap. Like people just, they should have never signed Chapman. Okay, he strikes out quite a bit, but like he gave us the most home runs that anybody's given us in years last year. Yeah. His Gold Glove defense.
Defense. Defense alone,
incredible. Yeah, and third base isn't ezy. It's hard to come by a guy that's good. That good.
I got my Kyle Seager jersey on.
Yeah.
There you go.
Yep. Nope. For sure.
Yeah,
for sure.
I
No,
think-
I love Chapman. He's great.
Like from my perspective, because I am doing way too much observing, like you said, listening to radio shows, hearing the callers, looking on the social media, seeing the comments. And to me, what really seems to have happened is the Dodgers blew up this whole sport. It's like every team, every fan, like the Giants think they're the only team that's not spending, when in reality, the Dodgers are the only team that are spending. And everybody's comparing themselves to the Dodgers now, when I'm just like, okay, screw the Dodgers. There's 29 other teams. Let's get into the playoffs and see what happens. The Dodgers have had history of blowing it in the big games and stuff. So they'll probably get there for sure, but winning it all isn't like 100%. But I really think that like the Giants spend and maybe they don't spend on the right things or whatever, but they're in the top 5 of spending. But the fan base is like, these guys are cheap, the owner, blah, blah, blah. And it's just like, dude, every team is kind of in the same bubble except for the Dodgers that are just astronomically ahead.
And the Yankees too. I mean,
Yeah.
they're just
And
like,
the Mets, right?
Yeah, and the Mets. Yeah, sure. Just screw them entirely. I don't even pay attention to it. What they do is irrelevant to me, really. It's just fun to see how much money they spend. Yeah, I would much rather pay attention to the other, 27 teams than those. It's just unrealistic. It's not even fun anymore. It's just like you took your ball and went home, like spending the amount of money you guys are spending. It's just like, geez. It's like, I get it. You got money and you want to win a bunch of stuff. You want to win, but like, man, like how many billions of dollars in deferred payment? It's just like, ugh, it's just so dumb.
Yeah,
So,
and are they going to actually honor those payments when the money comes due? What if the franchise takes a big downturn and they run out of money? Then what are they going to do? Be like the worst like violation ever in terms of people getting paid. So
right.
Well, you got tickets already to go to some games this year, or you just kind of wait until the season starts? And
I'm kind of waiting. I want to buy like a pack of tickets because Seattle's like 5 hours away from here. But last time I took a flight to Seattle, there was a bunch of people going to the Mariners game, and it's only like an hour flight. You just hop on a little mini jet, and it's only a couple $100 there and back, and save a bunch of time. So I'm trying to like rally up some troops from out here to like go out to some games and then meet up with buddies there too, just to get a mass of people going. Because when I used to live on Capitol Hill, pretty close, I used to go to games all the time, and so best address in baseball, the corner of Edgar and Dave. I need to get back there for sure.
What are some of the teams you'd really want to see come to Seattle and play this year? I mean, which ones would you pick over other ones when you're buying tickets?
That's a good question.
I do like seeing them play the Astros. I went to a game a few years back with my buddies. It was my buddies from San Diego, and he moved up to Seattle. And the first game that we went to was with the Astros, and we just clobbered them like 14-1 or something.
Yes.
So that was like 6-7 years ago, when the Mariners were doing very bad. So it was cool to see that. But I like seeing them. I do like seeing the A's as well. And the Rangers have always played them really good too. And I have been to a couple of Giants games too as well. But I don't know, just more or less the divisional stuff. Like it is cool seeing like your Juan Soto come to town, or Acuna. Say the Braves come to town. Like that stuff's cool. Yeah. But I like divisional because it means that much more. And there's so much more rivalry and fun to it, as opposed to just like, okay, we're gonna go see the Stars and this, that, and the other thing. I guess it is kind of interesting to see who you might play against in the playoffs if you make it there, when it's coming down the stretch. Yep. But I guess in the beginning it's kind of like, let's see some divisional stuff, let's see what we're really up against type of thing.
Yeah, those games are always, they have a little more energy, and the crowd, I think, gets into it a little bit more. I mean, definitely like all the times that I went to a Giants-Dodgers game, especially in San Francisco, man, the vibes are heavy. It's a lot of fun. The heckling is just off the charts too. That's the best.
Oh, my sister used to live in Baltimore, and the greatest story is we were walking around in DC, just seeing all the DC sites, and it was in the middle of summertime, and I was just burned. Being from the West Coast, going to the East Coast middle of summer was just so brutal. I was just like, oh, I'm tired. I'm ready to just pack up. And my mom's like, well, I do have these, so I guess we'll just throw these away. And there were tickets to a Nationals-Orioles game.
Oh,
and it was so sick. That was Max Scherzer on the mound that night for the Nationals. I don't remember who was for the Orioles, but I remember it was Scherzer. And because Baltimore and DC are so close, I mean, it was speckled orange, red all over. So it's really cool how close those fan bases are. So that was really cool too. So, again, it's kind of the close rivalry stuff that's always that much more energy, just like you said.
Yeah.
Dude, I'm just excited, man. Like we've been hearing the games only, and then today they had a free MLB one, so I got to watch a few innings.
Nice.
And I'm just like, I can't wait. It's like
right.
I don't like the other sports even close to baseball. I mean, the Warriors are fun to watch. I like right now with Butler on the team, they're exploding and Steph's going crazy, and it almost feels like they got this new energy that's like you feel it, like, oh, where'd this come from? But for me, that thing you were saying earlier, like the 162, to me, that's the beauty of baseball, is that like win or lose today, there's another game tomorrow, and it really mirrors life in a lot of ways. Yeah. Like you kind of just use that steady pace, no highs, no lows. Like there's a lot of things that are like very similar to the game. And then also just having that meditative moment in this crazy world where everybody needs things so quick. Like I want to relax and watch a 3-hour game, like, and just sit out and not have anything interfere with me. So I love it. I can't.
I knew that the games were going to start up pretty quick, and it just totally escaped my mind. And then I hop in my car on my lunch break and I turned the radio on, and the sweet sound of Rick Riz was on the radio, and I was just like, we made it! We're back! We are back, baby! We are back, and it feels so good. Because I'm in Spokane, like I get some Seattle radio, but I don't get all of it. I get a lot of national stuff. Okay. And in Seattle, a lot right now is they'll broadcast the spring training games, but they did Monday. I haven't heard it since. I had to watch it on my MLB app. As much as I like listening to Freddie and Harry on ESPN, those guys are great too. It's like I want to listen to my baseball, dude. I don't really care about you guys talking about basketball right now, especially because there's no basketball team here that I care to root for. So it's baseball season, man. Why are we not talking about baseball, dude? It's back.
Yeah, that's like our Giants flagship station in San Francisco. That. Even now, spring training started and it's baseball season. They're devoting very little time to talking about the Giants. They're talking about the 49ers.
Yeah,
they're talking about guys like, I mean, it's like, hey, it's not football season, number one. And number two, all these things, these hypotheticals you're talking about are so far off in the future. Like, can we just talk about what's actually going on right now? Sharks hockey, okay. A's and Giants spring training. And the Dubs. That's it.
Dub Nation,
Yeah.
I mean,
no, I couldn't care any less about what Geno Smith thinks he can make on the open market, or who we're gonna sign as the next
100%.
D end. It's like, dude, I swear, ever since Russell Wilson came to Seattle and we won with him, there are the biggest bandwagon Seahawks fans. I'm sorry, Seattle fans out there watching. There just are, period. And that's all anyone cares about around here is Seahawks. This used to be, a Mariners state when they were kicking ass in the 90s, and the Seahawks got good, so they kind of took that over, but I'm still holding strong for my Mariners. That's my sport too. Baseball's my sport. When I came on before, I told you growing up playing as a kid with my dad and stuff too. So baseball's always been number one sport. Far enough.
Yeah, and I mean, it's kick-ass. The Mariners are an expansion team. I mean, they go back quite a ways, but they were an expansion team, and they have a history of bringing in some of the greatest players in the game, right?
Yeah.
They had Ichiro, they had Griff, they've had a lot of guys that were like real top.
We don't mention
talent.
A-Rod.
I was gonna say, they're saying Randy
Did you hear it come out of
Johnson.
my mouth? Yeah.
Randy Johnson, he went in as a Diamondback, like he was a Mariner. The big unit was a Mariner before he was before he was a Diamondback and a Giant.
Well, he won his 300th in San Francisco, so we'll claim him.
All right. Even though he's in as a Diamondback too, right? You can.
And we got Verlander to replace him, so that's
right.
Well,
he doesn't throw 100; he throws like 96 now. But
yeah. I want to ask everybody that comes on the show. So you're going to be the first. This is going to be a big topic for me all year. Define what it means to you, the word hater, and what the word homer. Like, what makes a homer and what makes a hater?
I would say a homer would be, regardless of outcome, they have like, I guess, no criticism. They just think they're doing right by everything is right that they do. They can't do no wrong, even if the results aren't there. I would say a hater would be more, I guess, more someone who is in enemy territory. Say like I was in San Francisco and the Giants were the team there, right? And so I would be, while they're the team the city I'm part of has this team, I'm not a fan of that team. So you just have nothing but shitty things to say about it just for the sake of saying it to get a rile out of people. I guess you could say to get just to try to get a rile out of people to be more of a hater.
But like if you're a fan of, let's say you're a fan of one team, you're a Mariners fan. You've got the Homer Mariners fan. You have I don't know if you guys have them. We do. The hater Mariners fan that just hates every move they make. They can't believe the owner, blah, blah, blah. And then there's the guy in the middle, right? That's like, because you could be a fan and still, like, you can be rooting for your team and not be a homer, right?
Right. Yeah, totally. I guess you could say that's because the guy on my bowling team was actually just like, oh, they're just the Mariners. They're gonna suck. It's the Spokane and the Eastern Washington fans won't like this one, but historically they've called that cooging it, or they're just the Mariners. The Cougars are actually been doing really good in football lately, so I'll give them that credit for sure. But that's kind of it. It's just like they have such high expectations, and then the talent is there, but the execution isn't. Like, dude, we had Robinson Cano, we had Felix Hernandez, we had Nelson Cruz, and we did what? Nothing. Like that. Those would be your Mariners haters for sure. We spent all this money and these guys, they suck and run. And there's definitely those. And I find myself in both camps often, but definitely somewhere in the middle.
Yeah, I think so.
You have to kind of straddle that. UFOs. You got to straddle the line a little bit, right?
Yeah, totally.
If you're a true fan, it's like you're going to get excited as hell when things are going good. You're going to get a little bummed when things aren't going so good. You're definitely going to be critical of decisions they make, but being outwardly just obnoxious about it. I mean, Schmitty and I have seen a lot online where it's like these discussions and people are just so negative. Like, it's like, the season hasn't even started yet. And
right.
Anybody would admit that the Giants underperformed last year and they had a lot of issues, but like, we got a new president of baseball operations. We signed the biggest deal we've ever signed with a player, and getting Adames, who was like one of the top tier free agents available.
Everyone's healthy.
And most everybody's healthy. We got a couple guys that are just a little under the weather, and they're going to be back all by Monday. So like, there's not a lot to be bummed out about right now. In spring training, your record really doesn't matter. I mean, yeah, you want to see your team win, but it's
get
just
some reps in. Just get some reps
guys.
in.
Yeah, guys are getting warmed up. They're getting reacquainted with everybody, their fellow players, and the game itself. So I mean, yeah, it's crazy that people are just so like the big story in San Francisco this year in the off season has been. We didn't get Corbin Burns. We didn't get Pete Alonso. We didn't go out and sign all of these people and spend billions of dollars, losing all of our draft picks and all of our international pool money. Like, oh yeah, and everybody's pissed off. And it's like, man, Willie Adames is a game changer for a team. You get that guy. I mean, his just being there is just a different vibe.
Yeah,
Total.
Oh yeah, absolutely. As much as I know you guys hate him, and I'm not his fucking biggest fan either, but Justin Turner, when he came to the Mariners for 5 minutes last year, it's like people had nothing but good things to say about him. And like it sounded like he was like, the veteran guy in the clubhouse that was helping the younger dudes out, and so whether you're paying the guy a lot of money or not, you're looking for people who can provide an impact on the field in the clubhouse. And where your team is at as far as, say, playoff hopes, I guess depends on that. How much money are you willing to spend on a player that is on the field, or one that maybe you're going to pay a little bit less but has more of a clubhouse presence? There's the balance of that too. It's, again, as much as I'm not a Justin Turner fan, he did really good for the Mariners. Pretty dang good. For the 5 minutes he was there, and people really liked him, and that carries a lot too. That was something they were talking about on the radio. Is like, is Dominic Solano going to be that kind of guy? It's like, historically, he has not been that kind of guy. While he's 37,
Johnny Barrels
for freaking ever. What kind of presence does he bring? So it'll be interesting to see that too.
You got Donovan Solano?
Yep.
He was a Giant. He's good, man. He's a
signed to a 1-year deal. Right.
He's a dependable guy off the bench, and he can play defense and stuff. So
he's got a good bat.
It sounds like he's going to be our primary first baseman. And he'll be platooning with Luke Raley. So it'll be cool to see that. And yeah, your president better not come for my catcher. Because if he comes for my catcher, your catcher comes for my catcher, I'm going to be pissed.
So let's talk about this, because that was kind of the initial idea. Give us the backstory on Tom Murphy. Is this guy Is this guy always hurt? I mean, we've seen him about 11 games in the 2 years he's been here. Yeah. Robbie Ray's coming off. He was coming off a Tommy John last year, so he didn't play most of the year, but we're hoping we get closer to the Cy Young version this year.
And we did too.
Yeah. So what can you tell us about, what's his name? Tom Murphy.
Tom Murphy. There was a guy I was following on Instagram called Mariners Memes that had the funniest Tom Murphy memes. And while
I'll have to look for these.
He just didn't produce, but like, he always, for some reason, seemed to come through in the clutch. And like I remember making a funny meme of Tom Murphy back in the day. It was from RoboCop at the very end, where he shoots the dude through the window and he goes, "What's your name, son?" He goes, "Murphy." It was just, I liked Tom Murphy. He brought a funny energy. There's like, you can find the picture of him after he hit a home run. The Mariners have the trident, and he's like pointing the trident at the camera.
I like the trident. I'm a fan.
I like him. He has a great energy about him. Yes, he's definitely injury prone for sure.
Can he throw anyone out? Has he ever thrown a runner out stealing?
I was more looking for his bat than his arm. I mean, he was just kind of the backup catcher, right?
Yeah, I guess that's.
No, I guess nothing that stands out anyway. I mean, he probably did a few times, of course, but nothing that I can remember off the top.
How about this?
Yeah, that's what I'm talking about. You gotta find the one of him holding the trident, dude. It's so.
There's a bunch of photos of this dude going full psycho face like this. It's just hilarious.
He's great. He's awesome.
Well, Tom Murphy was brought in by the previous regime, and this segment has been brought to you by.
It's time to shit on Farhan.
I love that so much. It never gets old for me.
That's a good one.
Well, is Haniger back to reality, or did he fall apart when he came down here, and he's still the same fall apart guy up there now, or what's up with Haniger?
Oh man, it sounds. I mean, they owed him for. I think this is the last year on his deal, and if they cut bait with him, then they just own the money anyway. So it sounds like he will be like a warm body on the team right now. He didn't really do much. As much as I love Haniger, me and all my buddies love Haniger. The other jersey I have is a Haniger jersey. He just fell off ever since he lost one nut. He just hasn't been the same guy since. Well, because he got hit in the balls and he had to get one of them.
Yeah.
So he just hasn't been the same guy
gnarly.
since then. No, but I like him. When he gets hurt bad, and he just never comes back full strength, and so he will either be just a warm body on the team, I think, ultimately, or they'll cut him just because they're gonna have to pay him anyways, and maybe they'll bring up a younger kid just to bring him up. I don't know. I would like to see him. He's a great clubhouse presence dude, one of those dudes that I think I'd like to see him, get a game or two in a week. Victor Robles is going to be the primary right fielder, I think, for all intents and purposes. At least that's what I would want. I still think he's a formidable player, but he just streaky at this point in his career, I think.
Who got the better deal then, Robbie Ray for Haniger?
Well, you guys, I think, got the better deal. I think there's more upside with Robbie Ray. There's way more upside with Robbie. When he's good, he's good. But when he's
tight ass pants,
he's he's got some tight ass pants.
His
tight ass pants.
His first 2 games for the Giants last year were epic.
Yeah, no,
and then after that, it just went so south so fast, and I don't think he was fully recovered from the surgery, But we'll see what we get this year. So you were talking about guys being clubhouse guys. The inverse can be true. Clubhouse cancers, guys that are like that. Any Seattle guys that you can think of on the top of your head that have been kind of a clubhouse cancer up there?
I'm off the top of my head. I guess nothing. No one like in recent memory. Oh man, who? I guess the first person that comes to mind is A-Rod, but he wasn't a cancer. He was just, it left a sour taste in everyone's mouth, so that's different. Boy, I guess no one that comes to mind right off the bat. They're
running a clean franchise then,
I mean, I think people are generally happy when they come here. Seattle is like statistically one of the hardest ballparks in baseball, like top 2. And so people just have a shitty time playing here, and then they go other places and then they do so much better. I think that's just, that's just what the Mariners are seemingly. But, because it's Safeco is the house that Griffey built, but when they built it, he left.
Right.
Because he basically, it's hard for a left fielder or a left-hander to get the ball out of the ballpark there. And the batter's eye, I guess is, another big thing for them too. Is, I mean, I've never been on the diamond right there, so I don't know exactly what they're looking at. But apparently, it's a historically hard place to play, and so people have a tough time playing here. But I feel like they've always enjoyed their time here. Like Ty France, actually, those dudes that do the Marine Layer podcast, I heard them talking about it.
He's a good dude.
They had said like something like, Mariners didn't make any significant moves, and he liked that post on Twitter or something like that, or X, whatever. So I really like Ty France, and he had a great time here, but we just cut bait with him, and then he went to Cincinnati and was just a reborn player for a couple of weeks, and we're like, well, that's kind of the Ty France we were looking for, but you do it somewhere else, but so I guess historically most people have had a good time in Seattle.
Yeah. So basically, it's a pitcher's park, right?
Yeah. Oh, yes.
Kind of like what we have at Oracle.
100%.
Much more.
100%. Yeah. I think our starting pitching ERA is 1 to 1.5 lower at home than it is on the road. You just, yeah.
Yeah. Same thing in San Francisco. It's just with the swirling wind,
Yep.
It's not easy to hit home runs.
Right.
But I always think that the team needs to be built for the stadium you play in. And like when the Giants played at Candlestick, they used to say that was the biggest home field advantage because people couldn't play in the cold and the wind, and the players were used to it here, so they had the advantage. The Giants need to not worry about home run hitters. Get guys to hit the ball in the gaps and have speed. Like that early Cardinals team with Coleman and Ozzie Smith and those guys. Like that's the model the Giants would be really successful with. Pitching and defense, and then speed and hitters that don't strike out. We strike out way too much, and that's one of our biggest problems.
And that's why I'm stoked to have Edgar back as a hitting coach. It's like double, Mr. Double. Hit the ball right up the middle. Hit the ball up the middle. Hit the ball up the middle. I mean, that's, homers will come. Put the bat to the ball. Who cares about how fast it's going? Who cares about how high it's going? Hit the ball. Put the ball in play. Just put the ball in play. Give yourself a chance. That's ultimately what it comes down to. It's the home runs are great in certain situations. I don't want to just see people hit home runs all the time, though. It's like I don't want to see people shoot 3-pointers all the time. I want to see some defense. I want to see box them out down in the key. It's like get a runner on, bunt him over, mess with the pitcher, steal third, pass ball. Now you get 2 runners moving. The small ball is so much more fun. It's the games within the game, right? It's like when was the last time you went to a baseball game with someone who isn't into baseball, and they're like, this is kind of fun, but like whatever, like they haven't hit any home runs. And you're like, dude, you haven't been paying attention. Like there's like 80 different things happening right now, And so that's the funnest part for me about baseball is the games within the games. The one guy stepping off, is he gonna, you got twice to throw to first, are you gonna use them wisely, or is the guy you're gonna see him break out, so he's gonna do a pitch out? It's pitch out and catch in the middle of something. So that has always been the funnest part of the game for me is games on the bases or within the game.
Yeah, and tight games too, right?
Yeah.
Games that are decided by
blowouts blowouts. Who cares? It's like 10-1, big deal. Get the game over with.
It's funny. This people hate soccer in this country because it's 90 minutes of guys jogging around, and like a game will end like 1-0 or 1-1.
Nil.
They don't score a ton of goals. I mean, it's just whatever. And so like I love it because I played it all through my youth, and I understand the game with a really fine view, but I know people that don't know much about it and don't know the history of it, it's boring to them. Right. I could never say that baseball is boring, although I have watched boring baseball games, but the sport is not boring, it's exciting.
Right. And I've never been a big soccer person either, but I have been watching a little bit of hockey, and hockey's kind of the same, like a 1-0 game is not uncommon, but like I've been paying attention to it enough now to kind of start to see some of the games within the game, so it's like watching this series that just happened. Like that was just so fun to watch, and it's an exhibition game, like these dudes aren't getting paid to do this. This is just like, I mean, sure, guys are probably getting paid to do it, but it's ultimately they're not getting paid to do this, right? They're just going to represent their country, and so that's really cool too. It'd be cool to see, like we were mentioning earlier, is like it'd be cool to see baseball do that, like America versus do this 4 countries thing too. Like that would be cool. Could that stir up some excitement at the break? Is that what we replace the All-Star game with? Do we just add something different to the All-Star game? Like bring some new flair. Bring the old fans back in, because they're chasing off a lot of the old fans. How can we bring more fans in to make it bigger? Because like you said, if there's another stoppage too, it ain't gonna be good.
I think the skills challenges seems to be more entertaining than the game, because no one cares who wins or loses in the game. Like the NBA one that just happened was horrid. It was just no defense. Dudes are it's Harlem Globetrotters. It's like, but if you got the football, the quarterback, and he has to throw as many balls and hit through a hoop or something, and the home run contest and the slam dunk contest, all those things seem like they bring more attention and more energy.
Yeah, totally. Home run derbies are always fun. I mean, I think home run derby's fun no matter where it is, who's doing it. It's just fun to watch dingers, right? But it's how can you make, say, the games within the game, how can you project those as a fun aspect of the game and not just, okay, a guy went from first to second and he missed the throw, so.
It's hard nowadays because people's attention spans are so short. Everything's just, they want this immediate push button. I want to be through it in a minute and a half and done and be on to something else. And it's like total ADD, It's
100%.
like, I think it's a generational thing. And I think that's why we're seeing some of these changes in the game, is not just to speed up the pace of play, like they say, but to like keep people engaged who are bored, right? Like, I don't know. It's an odd concept to me because baseball has never been boring. It's always been exciting. And even in a boring game, you're going to see a play or a hit, something that is like, wow, that was impressive. Like there's always something like that. So I think the home run derby is fun to watch. I just wish I always feel like they don't have all the right guys in it. I always feel like they have a couple of the right guys and a lot of the wrong guys. And it's like, maybe some guys just don't want to do it. It's like, I don't want to do this.
People think that it ruins their swing because they change their swing to hit home runs and then they can't get back into the. I remember Bonds was saying that, like after he won the home run derby, he's like, I don't want to do it anymore because I got my like stroke and everything.
Well, that's like one of my favorite Randy Arozarena moments is during the home run derby. He had his kid like out there on home plate and he was just sitting there with his kid with his big ass chain.
He's the best.
He's so fun.
He's got swag,
player, dude. Yeah. And so I'm really excited for him. But that was like one of my favorite moments because that was when he was still, a Ray, when it was at T-Mobile Park too, so it was just, he's just so fun. He's so fun. And that kind of stuff's cool too. It is cool to see all the guys like getting, dap each other up and, rooting for each other, that type of stuff. And, I saw one of the comments there was like the MLB All-Star game is still good. And I agree. What they should bring back is them wearing their jerseys and not an American League and a National League jersey. Because that, there was that lineup with like Griffey and Cal Ripken Jr. and all these dudes, like all, that's what we need to bring back for the All-Star game because that alone would probably draw people back to it.
It's real simple. You just you have them wear their uniforms. Obviously, either the American League or the National League is the home team. So you have the home team wear their home jersey and
their home whites or whatever.
The road team wear their road grays or whatever it happens to be, but they're wearing their own uniforms. I think.
And the Dodgers wear their pajama pants.
Yeah, the Dodgers wear their blue pants.
And the Dodgers can all just stay home and we'll watch someone else. Should we get them to wear their City Connect jerseys? That might be kind of fun.
We don't know
because
we don't know yet because we're getting a new one this year and no one knows what it looks like.
How are your guys' City Connects?
They're okay. I think they're cool. They could be cooler. I'm not a huge fan of the black pants, but it goes with the scheme. I think the blue is a little too dark, but I like the blue and yellow. That's always been a great look. They should bring this back, this Futures back, because that was when Griffey was running around the outfield with no sleeves on his shirt, and him and Jay Buhner. So that would be fun, but they're okay. There's worse ones, that's for sure.
There's a good one that's kind of not in your neck of the woods, but probably closer to you than us. We have a AA team in Eugene, and they have a City Connect jersey that I sent Schmitty a picture of the other day. It says "Exploding Whales" on it. And for a second, I had to think about why would they have a City Connect for a AA team that says Exploding Whales? And then I remember way back, like in the early 80s, there's a news clip where this whale washed up on the beach and they went and tried to blow it up with dynamite to get rid of it. And rather than it like disintegrating, it just sprayed thousands of people with dead whale chunks.
I do remember hearing about that. Yes, I do.
And I'm like, I'm on the fence. I may buy this jersey.
Oh my god!
I do know that the Rays City Connect jersey, those are pretty sick. They actually have a skateboard somewhere on them. If I remember correct, it's on the sleeve.
That's true. Yeah.
But there is a the single A affiliate for the Rockies, the Spokane Indians, is like a few blocks from my house, and they're really fun games to go to. And my mom and sister live like right next to the Tacoma Rainier Stadium, so I've been wanting to actually go over there for a few games this summer too.
Yeah.
I want to remind everybody to subscribe and hit the like button. We just reached 200 subscribers, which to some may not be much, but we were super hyped. And I think it was all due to our friend.
Well, obviously, we have a podcast, so y'all need to tell your wife, tell your kids, and tell your children to subscribe to Skaters on Baseball.
Right over the top.
Subscribe to Skaters on Baseball.
Yeah.
Open it up.
Nice. Hey,
Yeah.
I was going to give this away on the show. Would you like it? Thrasher
Me?
puzzle? Do you make puzzles? Yeah, Charlie.
Hell yeah. Dude, I haven't made this one yet, but what's up? I got this one. I got a kiss puzzle right here.
Okay.
Oh, sick.
Text me your address and I'll send this out to you.
Hell yeah, sick.
It's 1,000 pieces and it's a collage of all the mags. It's pretty tough.
I've done this
Dang,
puzzle.
that's
It's
sick.
not easy.
Yeah,
It's a
we
good one
did-
for a rainy
we-
stretch.
But we did it
Yeah.
already, so I taped it together and I can send it out to you.
Sick. Hell yeah, thanks.
Hey, we're big puzzle fans, so yeah, it'd be fun to build like a puzzle community where it's like people do them and pass them along and stuff.
Yeah.
And it was all due to the COVID. Once COVID hit
Yeah,
us and
yeah.
we were in lockdown, we just started doing puzzles all the time and watching documentaries.
Sick. That's awesome. Hell yeah. Thank you. Appreciate that.
Yeah, dude, I appreciate you coming on, man. It's good to
Yeah, thanks for having me.
reconnect too. And I think tell us the Instagram story. What happened? You got banned?
Dude, I literally went to go log on and it says that I broke community guidelines. I don't
It
even
was
post
the-
on it anymore.
Did
Like,
you wear
I
an
literally
A-Rod
have
shirt?
Huh?
Did you wear an A-Rod shirt or something?
Dude, I don't know. I literally don't know because I don't post on Instagram. Like,
Did you
I
comment?
literally
Did
have
you,
no idea. Like,
Maybe
did you
you
comment
got-
on something and use a word that's no
No.
longer allowed to be used?
dude, I seriously have no idea what I did.
Maybe somebody hacked
Your
your
account's
account.
been disabled. I'm just like, I literally don't. I hardly even use it, so
That's
I don't know.
weird.
I literally have no
Did-
idea. And
did
I
this
tried to
happen-
like appeal it. Like I'm like, dude, what did I literally did nothing wrong, and they never gotten back to me. So whatever. I guess I don't have an Instagram anymore.
Did this happen right around the time that Zuckerberg bought it? Or was
No, he's owned it for he's owned it for a number of years,
Okay.
but no,
Did,
no. It
did
was.
you hear about their algorithm getting messed up yesterday?
No.
Hella people got all these like death type videos, like sharks eating people and all this gnarly shit. Like it was in everyone's feeds, and a lot of it went to little kids, and people are like losing their mind.
Well, dude, there was a story I was hearing about. It was some kid on TikTok got fed like all these train suicide videos, and this kid literally went and jumped in front of a train. Like the algorithm is fucked, dude. Like this
Yeah.
mind control is fucking for real. And as much as people think it's just like, oh, it's just social media. It's like, no, I mean this. While it sucks, my Instagram got disabled for literally no reason. I'm not losing any sleep over it because I can go outside and hang out with my dog instead. So, so that's okay with me. But yeah, watch out for the algorithm; it can get you.
So, did I see a cat wandering around behind you earlier?
Yeah, probably. I got two. I got
Awesome.
a tabby and a Siamese. I found the Siamese under my shed a couple summers ago, and now him and my dog are best homies.
Nice.
Yep.
Yeah, I'm big on cats. I get stoked on it.
Tony! Tony! He usually comes running, but he must not be inside.
Social media is a bad LSD trip. Speaking
Yes,
of
it
bad
is.
LSD trips, dude, I just saw
In some cases.
I saw a trailer for the new Manson documentary that's coming out soon, and I'm just like,
Oh.
yes. I'm a true crime. I love that shit.
Yeah, dude.
He
When
was
did
dropping acid with one of the Beach Boys and running around in their
Yeah.
weird like nudist colony. That's like crazy shit. Man.
Well, one of these years, the Giants will play in Seattle. I think it's every other year, and I'll cruise up because I've never been to the Seattle Stadium. Maybe we can kind of line something up where you meet over there and we get a game in.
Dude, absolutely. I got a couple buddies that live in SF, so I would be super down to, if they're playing down there too, try and maybe get a quick flight down there, because while I'm not in Seattle, I can fly direct to SF from right here in Spokane too, and the airport's only like 10 minutes away, so I'd be super down to link up for a game. That'd be awesome.
We got Mariners home opener this year, so maybe next year I'll cruise up there. We're going to, every year we go to see a different stadium. This year we're going to Detroit. Last year we went to Boston.
Nice.
So maybe next year we'll go Seattle.
Yeah, that'd be sick, man. That'd be awesome.
Super
Hell
fun.
yeah. Well, I got to get my dinner going here soon, guys.
Yeah, heard that.
It was good
But
catching
thanks for
up,
having me
though.
on, guys.
Yeah, I was
Appreciate
stoked
it.
to catch up with you, Charlie.
Yeah, no, like I said, thanks for having me on again. That was pretty sweet. Appreciate that.
Yeah.
Did that little video? Did you see the little video that would it work that I emailed you? Did it come through?
I don't know.
Because it was like I got a new computer and I'm a video editing noob. It's been a long time, so I don't know how to compress the file. So it like went to like a Google Drive.
Oh yeah, I think I have to try it on my computer. Like on the phone, it was like.
I'll try and
snow?
compress it and send it to you again. Yeah. Yeah, there was like a foot of snow here basically, and me and my dog were ripping around. Yep.
Whoa.
With the lack of movement on my Seattle Mariners part, the lack of moves means big moves for the future.
Says looking for moose.
Looks like Charlie's having some technical difficulties.
Spokane's Wi-Fi went
There
out.
he is.
Spokane back.
Yeah.
I put my elbow on my keyboard and it freaked out. But did you see? Did it play the end of the video too?
Yeah, it was kind of spotty. I'm gonna have to check it out on the computer.
Yeah, you have to check it out. I like it. It's good. I think you'll like it. But I got my beanie on and everything for it. Me and the dog out ripping.
Sick, dude.
That's hot.
Well, cool. We're
Thanks again, guys.
We're gonna be doing a daily show next week. So if you're around, come on the chat and who knows what might happen.
Yeah.
Hopefully I still think a trade or two might happen before opening day, but we'll see.
Yeah. Yeah. Well, I don't know very much about this dude. I've heard his name. I just say his name is cool. The Mariners just signed Rowdy Tellez. I mean, the guy's name is Rowdy. I mean, that's just a cool name, period. So
he's from Sacramento.
He's
is he really?
California guy. Yeah.
Sick.
He talks shit on the Bay Area. Like they were asking him if he was gonna come to the Giants. He's like, hell no. Blah blah blah. It's like, fool, you're from Sacramento, man.
Yeah. He looks like he's a buffet enthusiast. But
yes, he certainly
got some
does.
power.
He's been to the whole country a couple of times or two.
Oh shit. Well, right on. I think we all need to eat and
cool, man.
Get done with it. But yeah, thanks again, Charlie. Stoked to see you and get you back on here.
All right, guys.
Yeah,
go Mariners.
Dude.
Go Mariners.
Paul,
Go Mariners and
to go Mariners. Let's go.
Look at that.
go Mariners and
Fuck the Dodgers. Fuck the Dodgers. Fuck the Dodgers. Fuck the Dodgers.
Oops, it's
Fuck the
stuck.
Dodgers. Fuck the
Oops.
Dodgers.
Bye-bye.
Thanks for listening to this episode of Skaters on Baseball. If you liked what you heard, please spread the word, give us a good review, or hell, blow us up on your social media if you're down. Follow us at Skates on Base on Instagram for baseball news and other fun stuff. We love comments and listener participation, so bring it with an audio clip or an email. You can email us at skatersonbase@gmail.com. We're everywhere you get your podcasts, and we'll be here all season long.
Let's go, San Francisco. Let's go, Giants.
I'm excited to give everything that I have for these next 6 seasons and, see where it takes us.
Adios! Pelota!
See you soon. Thank you.
And I
forever a Giant.